Alright guys, so for today's video, we're going to talk about the most anticipated games of 2023. Now, there's a lot of games coming out, a lot of them obviously aren't announced, we don't have specific dates, but I'm going to pull up a list for you guys here in a second. It's going to have all of the games that are basically announced that I'm somewhat interested in, or at least thinking about covering. The ones that are going to be highlighted green, you'll see here in a second, are going to be the ones I definitely plan on at least making a video about, if not reviewing. I want to talk about each game just a tiny bit, not in too much detail. Let me go ahead and get started. So like I said, all of these green ones are the ones I definitely want to make videos on, and the other ones are essentially games that we might talk about, but they have my interest. So let me just start at the top. Alright, you got Dead Space. Haven't played any of them, but the Callisto Protocol was compared to Dead Space. I like the Callisto Protocol a lot. It's a remake of the first game, so we'll see. Again, not much on that one. There's a trailer out now. It's really just a graphical update for the most part, but I haven't played it, so maybe I'll play it. Maybe I'll give you guys a review on it, give you my thoughts as someone who's never played it before, and we'll see how it holds up now versus when it originally released. But moving on from there, the clip you've seen playing in the background is Hogwarts Legacy, and so this is the one that I think is actually really interesting, because this game's either going to do real good, like win Game of the Year good, or real bad, like 2 out of 10's bad. And here's my prediction for this game. It's either going to have way too much, there's going to be so much to do, kind of like the Assassin's Creed games, but in an RPG sense. And it's so overwhelming and it means absolutely nothing because of how much there is to do, or it's going to be so good and it's going to really bring that Harry Potter world to gaming with the RPG setting that works really well. And I think as long as they do things right and have meaningful progression and don't try to overstuff the world with places to go and things to do, it'll work out alright in their favor. From there, you move on to Sons of the Forest, the sequel to the Forest game. This is like a survival base building horror type game, and I really like the first one a lot. My problem with the first one was that I got to it super late, so one, it didn't look too great, and two, and the biggest problem, I was playing it on a really shitty laptop, so I was getting probably like 9 FPS in 720p. So now that I have a decent computer that can run Tarkov and other big graphical games like that, I think I'll enjoy this a lot. I like these types of games, these DayZ, Tarkov, Rust, kind of survival type games. So I think I'll have a fun time with this. I'm not expecting too much. If it comes to Game Pass, I think that would be a really good deal. It just seems like a Game Pass type of game, just like the Stranded Deep that they just added to Game Pass and Subnautica that they've had on there this whole time. Just one of those types of games I think would do really well on there. Now, next we have The Day Before, and this is a kind of your zombie experience for the year. It looks a lot like State of Decay 2, and visually and both within the set pieces, it reminds me of The Division 2 for some reason, I don't know why, but there's not too much out about this game. It's a zombie survival shooter, kind of like DayZ but AAA, and this game is really 50-50 from what I've seen. It could be incredibly fun in this new looter shooter zombie game that kind of redefines how zombie games work, or it could be super generic because we've played a million zombie games before and it could just be another one of those. So this is one of those ones that we have to wait for more gameplay to come out, although it does come out within the next 2 months, so I don't know how much more they plan on releasing. So this is going to be one of those ones we're going to have to just wait and see until it releases. So while I have other games on this list that I skipped, like Destiny 2 Lightfall, which is just an expansion, there's Skull and Bones, which I'm very reluctant to cover because the game's been delayed like 15 times. But let's talk about Jedi Survivor. So this is probably, if I had to guess, either going to be my game of the year or my most disappointing game of the year. I'm either going to absolutely love this game or absolutely hate this game. That's just my prediction now. I've made a video on this already. I've talked about this trailer that's playing right now. I talked about it when they initially did the first trailer that they showed off. It looks good. The first game is really fucking good. All they have to do is just do more of what they did in the first game. Maybe open it up a little bit more. Add a little bit better customization. Continue the story. And we're good to go. There's not much that needs to be changed here from the first to the second game. Make sure you don't repeat the skill tree abilities, because that's a big mistake they do with these types of fighting games with sequels. Make sure you vary up the combat a bit, add a new mechanic or two, and this is going to be solid. Dead Island 2 I think is going to be the flop. If I had to pick a game from this list, this will be the flop of the year. I don't think it's going to do good. The fact that it was just canceled and delayed like 10 years, and then they decided to remake it and put out this trailer, and then they delayed it again. It's just, I don't think you can do much with this type of game if they want to continue off of the first one. Everything that Dead Island 1 does well, Dying Light has now done better, and along with the day before, whatever the hell I just said the name of the game was, that's also releasing literally the month before. We're going to be all zombied out at that point. So I think, I'm not saying this will be bad guaranteed, but unless this goes on Game Pass, I can't see this doing those high scores above a 7. But again, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But it just, there isn't enough mechanically, solely based off the first game and the sequel to that first game, not to be confused with Dead Island 2, that they can do new that hasn't already been done. The Suicide Squad game is another one that I just have no idea. I don't know what the gameplay is in this game. I don't know what the type of game it even is. I mean, I assume it's a beat-em-up game, but is it going to be like Gotham Knights with loot? Is it going to be more story-driven like the Batman game? Is it going to be multiplayer? I literally have no clue about this game. They've released 3 trailers at this point, really haven't shown any gameplay at all. And for something that releases in, 5 months, I think we need another trailer before we decide where this game's gonna sit. I hope it's good, obviously, I hope it's great, but who knows. So this is where we start rapid firing down the list, right? Alan Wake 2, haven't played the first one, I'll give it a shot. Who knows, maybe it'll be fantastic. I like the other games the studios put out, like Quantum Break and stuff like that, so it's more than likely that I'll like that one. Now, Ark 2. Ark 2, again, just like Suicide Squad, no clue. I don't really know what the hell they're gonna do. My problem with the first Ark game is that they went and made expansions that cost money before they actually fixed the base game, so whatever. But Ark 2 is coming out, it's got Vin Diesel in it, it's probably gonna be a good time, it'll be on Game Pass. So overall, I'm not expecting too much change between the first one and the second one. It has a story mode, so that'll be interesting to play at least, but overall, I expect this to come out buggy as hell, super unfinished, and then fix it in like a year and a half, and people say it's really good. So that's my prediction for this. Let's rapid fire through the rest of this list. So just looking at this, we have Call of Duty. Who knows what the hell they're doing? Supposedly, they're not releasing a new game, just going to be an expansion, but who knows? We have freaking Payday 3. I got on to Payday 2 a little bit too late, so I wasn't really into that when it was at its height, but hopefully I'll really like this one. Continuing down the list, Stalker 2, again, one that we don't really know a lot about. It got delayed because of the whole, people dropping bombs on each other thing, but now that's relatively calmed down. We have the game coming out, and this is what I think is going to be the sleeper game of the year, right? I think this is going to come out, no one's going to know that it came out, and then people can be like, yeah, Stalker 2 was so good, like 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and then people are going to start buying it and be like, hey, this smacks, and it's going to win a bunch of rewards, and then be shorted out by like Spider-Man 2 for Game of the Year. That's my guess, alright? But again, don't know much, it looks good, it looks like Metro Exodus, I like Metro Exodus, so I'll probably enjoy this. But let's keep going through the list. Assassin's Creed, I don't care what you have to say, fuck you. Assassin's Creed is good, Assassin's Creed smacks, all of them are real solid. I mean, some of them aren't great. Assassin's Creed Syndicate's, that one's okay, that one's just meh. But the rest of them, they're all real good. Valhalla, you people are on crack, that game is like a 9 out of 10. I have like an hour and a half review on it. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna either love it or just think it's okay. I'm gonna do everything 100%. Assassin's Creed's great. Let's move on to the iffy ones. So Starfield, on paper, looks fantastic, right? My problem with everything Starfield and everything Bethesda is summarized by that clip right there. It's the combat. I have problems with their combat. It feels clunky and old, and yes, their stories are good, and they have a lot of options, and you have branching paths that you can go down and replay the game, and the open worlds are cool. But while exploring that open world, the stuff that you use to get from point A to point B just doesn't look good. This doesn't look like I'm hitting these people. And yes, it's one trailer that came out a few months ago, and the game probably won't come out for another 6 months. But just, I need the bullets to feel like they're hitting people when I shoot them. And that is the only problem I have with this game right now. But we'll see them move on to perhaps the most unknown, the most shocking possible Game of the Year contender game on this list. So Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. The second movie just came out. They got like the next 37 of them planned out and already made for the next decade or whatever. My problem with this game is if you look at like the footage of the first Avatar game or like any movie games like in the old days when they used to make a game for every single movie, they're not good at all. Like, they're just shoot 'em ups. They're not a good time. And yeah, on paper, an Avatar game, like running through the forest, hunting things, seems cool, and like riding on like the dragon things and the freaking in the water and stuff. Like, sure, it seems like a cool time, and like getting your own tame and like letting you tame different things and all of that stuff. Sure, yeah, making you customize your own like Na'vi person and fighting the military people and make it an RPG game. You can get different weapons. You can choose to, go down different paths with different tribes. Sure, that all sounds cool, but actually making that into a game is really hard. Making that into an interesting story to where you actually care and the gameplay is good is really hard. Because think of how many games you've played with like a bow and arrow. A bow and arrow gameplay is so overdone. You've played it so many times that it's so hard to make it interesting. The only way I see this working out really well is if they go down that path of just freedom overall, letting you choose, make your own character, go down different pricing tribes, like I said, and try not to make it a too contained story. Because I feel like if you focus on the gameplay too much, it's going to get boring and it's going to get repetitive. But again, there's literally nothing out really about this game. There's like one trailer and like some pictures. So who knows, maybe it'll be Game of the Year. But that's my list. Obviously, there's going to be surprise games that drop just with no trailers. There's going to be games that are announced and come out later in the year. There's going to be games that are probably on this list that get delayed to next year. So you guys go ahead, tell me which games you guys are excited about down in the comments below. If there's games that I missed that you would maybe add to the list, games you would take off the list that you don't care about at all, what you think of the games, maybe put your lists in order. Let me know what you think are going to be the best, the worst, which ones are going to flop, which ones will win Game of the Year, and just let me know what you're excited for this year in gaming, or maybe even what you liked or hated last year, and I'll see you guys on the next one.